Monsters collide. Strowman vs. Fatu chaos. Smackdown goes wild. Battle of beasts. Who survived? What if the ring didn't break because of a mistake, but because two forces finally reached the point where it just couldn't hold them anymore? And more importantly, when Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu finally stood across from each other on Smackdown, did anyone in that arena actually believe both of them were leaving on their own feet? Because honestly, that's the first lie WWE fans tell themselves before a match like this. It's going to be intense. No. That's too polite. It's going to be physical. Still not enough. What we're really talking about here is what happens when two walking disasters decide there's only one way to settle things, and that's to erase each other. And you could feel it before anything even happened. Not when the bell rang. Not when they locked up. I'm talking way earlier than that. When the crowd is still buzzing, signs waving, people half eating snacks but already forgetting about them because something in the air just feels off. Like the building itself knows it might not survive the next few minutes. Braun Strowman steps in first. And you know how this goes with him by now. He doesn't walk like a normal person. He walks like someone who got told the laws of physics are optional and decided to test that theory every single week. Big, heavy steps, no rush, no hesitation. Just that stare like he's already decided how badly this is going to end for somebody. And then there's Jacob Fatu. Now here's where things get a little different. Because when Fatu walks out, it's not just intimidation. It's pressure. Like the atmosphere gets thicker. Like you can't tell if you're watching a wrestler or a warning sign that somehow learned how to wrestle. The crowd reacts, but it's not the usual "oh this guy is cool" reaction. It's more like "why do I feel like I should have stayed home tonight?" And the funny thing? Nobody's even touched yet. I swear, this is the part people underestimate. The silence before chaos is louder than the chaos itself. You've got Strowman on one side, Fatu on the other, and somewhere in between is a referee who probably didn't get paid enough to be in that situation. The bell rings. And for half a second, nothing. You know that moment in horror movies where the character slowly opens the door and you're yelling at the screen like "don't do it"? That's what this felt like. Just two monsters staring at each other, calculating, waiting. Because the first move isn't about strength. It's about pride. Then Strowman moves. And when he moves, it's not subtle. It's a charge. Straight line. No nonsense. Like a train that forgot what brakes are. But Fatu doesn't back up. That's the detail that hits different. Most people, they give ground. Even big names. Even tough guys. But Fatu just stands there like, yeah. I've seen bigger problems before breakfast. They collide. And I need you to understand something here, this isn't a wrestling impact. This is a collision you feel through the screen. The kind where fans in the front row suddenly remember they're a lot closer to danger than they thought. The ring shakes. Not dramatically. Not for effect. It actually shakes. And right there, you can already tell this isn't going to be one of those matches where someone outsmarts the other. This is going to be damage accumulation. Whoever can still stand when the math runs out wins. Strowman throws the first real shot after the lockup breaks. A clubbing blow that would normally drop most people instantly. Fatu takes it like it's an introduction. Like, okay, hello, now let me respond. And respond he does. A strike back that snaps Strowman's head just enough to make the crowd react like they just saw something they weren't supposed to see on live TV. And suddenly it's not a match anymore. It's a fight. Not the scripted kind fans sometimes joke about online. I mean a full-on "I don't like you and I don't care about the consequences" situation. Strowman tries to overpower him in the corner, driving him back. Shoulder thrusts, heavy hits, trying to wear him down like he's done so many times before. You can almost hear the thought in his head, nobody absorbs this forever. But Fatu absorbs it longer than expected. And that's when Strowman pauses. Just for a second. That tiny hesitation that says, okay, you're different. Bad sign. Because that's usually when things escalate. Fatu breaks out of the corner and suddenly the pace shifts. Quick strikes. Heavy but fast. Not wild, not reckless, controlled chaos. Like someone who learned how to fight in environments where stopping wasn't an option. And Strowman? For the first time, he's not the one dictating pace. You can feel the crowd change with it. That murmur. That wait a minute energy. Fans leaning forward like they're trying to get closer to understand what they're seeing. And then comes the first big throw. Fatu actually rocks Strowman back. Not just a stagger. A real shift. The big man takes a step back, and that alone makes people lose their minds a bit. Because when does that happen? Strowman regroups, charges again, and this time he catches Fatu. Power slam attempt coming in classic Strowman formula. Lift, control, finish. But Fatu slips out. And I'm not talking about a clean technical escape. I'm talking about that split-second survival instinct where everything just goes wrong for the attacker at once. Grip breaks. Balance shifts. Momentum disappears. And Strowman crashes forward into empty space. That moment right there? That's where the match changes. Because now Fatu knows something important: the monster can miss. And once that belief exists, everything becomes more dangerous. Fatu starts targeting. Not randomly. Not emotionally. He goes at Strowman like he's solving a problem. Legs, midsection, base control. Trying to chop down something that size isn't easy, but you can see the strategy forming. And Strowman? He's trying to reset. Trying to bring it back to brute force. Because that's his comfort zone. That's where he dominates. But Fatu doesn't let him breathe long enough to get there. At one point, Strowman shoves him off and yells something. You can't quite hear it, but you know the vibe. It's that I'm done playing energy. So he swings again. And misses again. Now the crowd is fully locked in. No phones. No distractions. Just noise and anticipation. Because this is where the mystery builds. Not who is stronger, but who is adapting faster. Strowman finally lands a big shot that sends Fatu into the ropes, and for a second it looks like momentum is about to snap back in his favor. You can almost hear fans thinking, okay, here we go, this is where it turns. But Fatu rebounds differently. Not just physically, but mentally. He comes back with a sudden burst, catches Strowman off guard, and hits a sequence that doesn't look flashy, it looks effective. And that's scarier. Because flashy you can prepare for. Effective just ends things. Strowman drops to one knee. And I don't think people realize how rare that is in moments like this. One knee is not defeat. But it is a question. It says, do I still control this? Fatu looks down at him. Not celebrating. Not reacting. Just assessing. And that silence between them? That's the real tension. That's the part nobody talks about enough in wrestling. The pause before decisions that change everything. Strowman rises again, slow, angry now. That shift from control to frustration. And when a man that size gets frustrated, things tend to break. He grabs Fatu again, this time with more force, more urgency.